Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, and some super spooky music from the Forbidden Planet, that is. Not from our topic today, which is The Village of the Damned from 1960. I know there's a remake and a sequel and a remake, but unfortunately, this is the one that Sven aired Saturday and the one I found the copy of on Internet Archive. And so that's what we're reviewing. It's a short movie, 77 whole minutes, and it's effective. It's based on the Midwich Cuckoos by the 1957 novel by John Wyndham, who also wrote Day of the Triffids, and that novel is a lot different than the movie that was eventually released. This is a bit better of a adaptation. It was released on December 7th, 1960 in LA and New York City. The budget was $320,000, which was something like 82,000 pounds at the time, and it grossed, I would guess worldwide, or over $2 million. So it was a big hit. It's a very unusual movie, and it was worthy. I mean, being in the 2.5 hour time slot on Sven made there a lot the breaks. There were more breaks because there was a lot more time to fill. I still think you should just do a 2 hour show when they have such short movies. But what do I know? Anyway, be that as it may, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the movie. If you've seen the sequel, let me know what you think about that. And if you've seen the remake, well, the other adaptation, some people really like it. So let me know. Anyway, after having said all that, let's roll. All right, we start out in the very bucolic village of Midwich, somewhere in England, and they're got a cattle dog there herding said cattle. And then we see our hero, ostensibly he is the hero, really. He did what he had to do. Gordon Zellaby, who was also played by George Sanders, who was the first Mr. Freeze on the 1966 Batman show, 6 years later. Excellent actor. The whole movie is really well cast. They all do a great job. Lawrence Naismith is in this. We've already seen him in The Valley of Gwangi, and we will see him in the Jason and the Argonauts as Argo himself. So, but he's phoning for his brother, and then suddenly Bruno the dog passes out. George passes out while he's in the midst of talking to his brother, and we pan across there. Everyone's passed out. I like this sign. You may telephone from here, because that was one of the things they say. You know how spotty the phone service can be at the time. But everyone, the whole village is out. Then we get to the credits. And while we've got the credits going, let's just play a little of the trailer here. Or the music from the trailer.
Science fiction has never imagined so strange or terrifying a story as that of the village of Midwich, England, cut off from life as we know it by some mysterious force. And later, at one and the same time, a child was born to every woman in the village.
Of childbearing age, that is. So the brother there, Alan, no wait. Let's see, Gordon Zellaby. Well, actually, it doesn't say who is Zellaby. Gordon, David. Well, anyway, I thought they'd give him a name, but he's not there. That's his commander. He goes off. He was going to go visit his brother anyway, so off he goes. Maybe it's his sister and brother-in-law. He meets the local constable, i.e., the Bobby, and it's truth, which is God's truth in English. He goes to see it and then collapses. And of course, that gets the The military's called in. They've cordoned off everything. And there's our doctor, who is, of course, Lawrence Naismith. Those are pretty much the only people. Well, Barbara Shelley, we do know. She was in Horror of Dracula, or actually Dracula, Prince of Darkness, Rasputin, the Mad Monk, Quatermass in the Pit. Oh, the final one. I'm gonna have to watch those Quatermass movies again, because I'd enjoy all three of them to various degrees. But they send a private in, and he just responds how cold it is because he's touching Mr. Freeze is passed out. But they're trying to figure out what's going on. They've got a pilot over there, and right as he gets close, he falls asleep, and kaboom! And as soon as they land, almost the spell wears off, or everything's back to normal. Now this only affects humans, so the cow didn't get pregnant. And Bruno wakes up. And it's now been almost 3 hours since everything's happened. They don't realize exactly what's happened, and there's Barbara Shelley there. This is one of her early roles. And they're all in, and it's like, you're safe. Right. So this movie, the black and white photography just helps it incredibly. I've watched the sequel, and for some reason I thought that was in color, but apparently it's in black and white.
Children that grew to look like this. Beautiful youngsters behind whose fiery, hypnotic eyes lurk the demon forces of another world.
You'll see the trailer. You'll see two trailers of a sorts here. We will put the homage / parody that The Simpsons did because it's just so well done. But Mr. Freeze, Gordon Zellaby plays the piano, and now Anthea is his wife. That's who Barbara plays, Anthea. They're like, and these nosy biddies know that she's pregnant. She's all happy. She's not happy because she's single. And now tell me that doesn't look like the 11th Doctor. I know it's not, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the 11th Doctor showed up or this had been a plot. And they go to the priest to say, you've got to stop. Everyone will be talking because every woman of childbearing age is going to have a baby. And he said, yeah, there's a 17-year-old, and I've known her, and I believe her. So he's not really a priest. He's a pastor because it's Church of England, I'm sure. One would guess. And she's not thrilled. And Thea is not thrilled. Thea, right? That would be the way you'd shorten that. But, everything's healthy. 7th month embryo after all. But the babies are obviously progressing faster than usual. And now they're all having a proper point. But she has a normal baby. But the dog is telling him, no. Bruno says, no, that's not a normal kid. Trust your dog. Trust any pet. They don't like someone, that's a sign. And so there's little David, and I approve of the name for some reason. But you can tell he looks unusual. The puzzle box, solves it in seconds, faster than, that's the brother or the doctor. I don't remember. Not the doctor in the movie, but the doctor of the TV show. Then they give it to the little girl, and it's got chocolate in it. So this little dope decides he wants to take it, and he gives it back. See, I think that was played by the same kid. So, really, the British are putting kids in drag right now? Just because they want them to look alike. But they grow up older, and these dumb kids are dumb. They're the dumbest of dumb kids. We know all your secrets. So having said that, let's go over to the bloodening. Right? So let me grab.
40 years ago, a film appeared that was so shocking, so terrifying, it was sealed in a concrete vault deep beneath the earth. But even the new management of Sony TriStar could not contain the pure evil of the bloodening. A registered nurse trained in the treatment of terror will be on duty during the showing of the bloodening.
Now playing at the Springfield Drive-In. After dark.
Get off from my moor, you mischievous weans.
Actually, we'd prefer to stay.
You're thinking about hurting us.
Now you're thinking, how did they know what I was thinking?
Now you're thinking, I hope that's shepherd's pie in my knickers.
Right, you little gliders. We've had quite enough of your evil mischief.
But you're the one who's been bad. You've been sneaking puddings.
But, how did you know?
We know all your secrets.
And you pilfered the poor box.
And Doctor, we know that you and the bootblack have been rogering the fishwife in the crumpet shop.
Lies!
How dare you! Get them! Quickly!
We can't have that.
Yes, the bloodening in your creepy little English voices. It's obvious. It's the episode, of course, where the Simpsons, Springfield imposes a curfew on the children, and they fight back, and it's very funny. So, because they wanted to go see the bloodening. Now, nothing about this movie is, bloody. There are some, implied horrific elements, as we'll see. This children scare everyone, and they tell them you don't have anything to worry about from us. Now, in the book, it is apparently what the Midwich Cuckoos, as I've said, it's a brood parasitic aliens. I've never read the book. I know that the book is way different of Dave the Triffids, but I'd like to read the book. Dave the Triffids is a good book. 31 boys, 31 and 30 girls. So they age a little faster. And of course, a lot of it's the same, but they did just drop the age because that's a lot of kids to corral. So I don't know what was going to be happening if the book is more explicit about if they were going to take over the planet or what have you. But, it pretty much ends the same. David cuts himself, and his mom's all Twitter pated, and he's like, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. I wasn't even there. Now we're going over the fact that there are 3 or 4 other places where I think 3 or 4 that the women have all gotten pregnant at the same time. And let's see, does it say this where they are? Northern Australian town, all the children died. The Eskimo community, the tribe killed the children because they were blonde haired, and the Eskimo and Inuits don't generally have blonde haired children. The Mongolia, the men killed the women and their mothers. And in Russia, of course, they survived and are being educated. Russia changed their mind later on and dropped a bomb on them with an atomic gun so that they couldn't read their minds and blew up the entire village. So, George is, Gordon wants to teach the kids because they think that they can advance them. They haven't quite grasped everything. They don't know that it's been blown up yet. That happens later. Pardon me. Spoiler alert. And so they give him permission. This guy says, okay, you can teach him. See what we can learn. And the kids, I mean, they're really smart, so they could be in Ravenclaw, but they're cold and relentless. So I'm thinking they would have been sorted into Slytherin. And all we want to do is learn from you and control. So, little outer limits there, right? We can all enjoy the outer limits.
The world.
They're not human. They ought to be destroyed.
Forces put to such sinister use that it became a national emergency.
This man almost hits the little girl, and it looked like she actually stopped the car, but they make him kill himself. This guy wants to shoot him, and it's the way where it was shot there outside. It was cold enough you can see the actor's breaths many times. That's how good a print this was. I watched it on VHS for the first time. I was surprised at how actually fast the movie went. It was like over before. I thought there'd be more things happening, but they did. It's a perfect time. That guy, they make him kill himself. They make everyone forget what's going on every time this happens. So they're having a discussion as to what to do. The villagers, of course, are about to go storm the castle with their pitchforks.
We are gathered
and torches.
here as advisors, as scientists, as government experts.
Have we established anything about the origins of these children?
There is the possibility of the transmission of energy.
To get this straight, you imply that these children may be the result of impulses directed towards us from somewhere in the universe?
They never do decide where they're from. I mean, but yeah, probably not from this Earth. Dun dun dun. So the women are all silently cheering them on. Unfortunately, they're thinking so loudly the children could hear them, halfway around the planet. Off they go. They cause this guy. There's the. So these are some animated overlays. They had to be cut out of the UK version to avoid an X rating because they're scary. Once again, it's not a scary movie. I mean, it's not. It's not something that will terrorize you. Well, it will terrorize. It won't horrify you. You won't see blood. You won't see guts. Everything's off screen, which makes it worse. This scene here, once the brother shows up, has no sound effects, no words, just what's going on. Actually, yeah, the lack of sound effects and just the music, it makes it creepy and very effective because these kids are power. It's like you can't hear or do anything. They surround him, but they just knock him out. Give him a little shock or something. So now we've got the final plan in action. David confronts his mom and says, it'll be we want to leave. We want to be someplace where we'll be safe and can continue to grow and take control. So he's like, David knows what he's got to do. You see what he's building there. A time bomb. It's just, yeah, and all he's thinking about is a wall. So another brick in the wall. You see what I did there? Mother didn't need to be so high. And Bruno just knows what's going on.
What we need is time to investigate.
Are you aware of life on another planet?
So it's going to go off at 8:30, in case you're wondering. And the kids are trying to penetrate his mind. So we get a really effective here because all he's thinking about is a brick wall, and that brick wall, and it starts crumbling. But he's got to hold on. Very effective, very tense, just really well done. The director is, where'd that guy's name go? Wolf Rilla. And I don't know, he was a television director for a lot of the UK. Let's see if I've seen anything else. Something German. No, I don't see anything. He directed until 74. I think he's done really well here. He was known to be a television director. He also wrote an episode of Doom Watch. Yeah, that's pretty much this is what he's best known for. Adventures of Aggie and the Scarlet Pimpernel. Not the Scarlet Pumpernickel. Sorry, Daffy. But there it is. The kids look at it, and then it goes off. And that explosion is fast, so fast I couldn't catch it. But everyone knows. Bruno wakes up, the house burns, the eyeballs scatter everywhere. And then we have the end. So that's it. That is really an effective movie. If it had been 2 hours, it would have been probably overkill. Even 90 minutes. I complain about 10 or 15 minutes too long. This is just perfect. There's our cast, the kids. This kid that played David. There you go. Oh, it doesn't say which one it is. I'll tell you here in a minute. He was phenomenal. I mean, how do you prep a kid for that? The director must be. I mean, that's how you can get the. David was played by Martin Stevens, who is. Oh, The Village Children. He's not even listed in here. Anyway, I thought that he was a great little actor, and The Innocents, but dropped out of 14 films in 12 years and dropped out to do a different career. That's England for you. All right, so there's our movie. Tomorrow we've got a special review for tomorrow, and I can't wait for that. Lots of pictures. So, until our next assignment, we know all your secrets. And X7 is phasing out.
Science fiction has never imagined so strange or terrifying a story as that of the village of Midwich, England, cut off from life as we know it by some mysterious force. And later, at one and the same time, a child was born to every woman in the village. Children that grew to look like this. Beautiful youngsters behind whose fiery, hypnotic eyes lurked the demon forces of another world.
They're not human. They ought to be destroyed.
Forces put to such sinister use that it became a national emergency.
We are gathered here as advisors, as scientists, as government experts.
Have we established anything about the origins of these children?
There is the possibility of the transmission of energy.
Let me get this straight. You imply that these children may be the result of impulses directed towards us from somewhere in the universe.
What we need is time to investigate. Are you aware of life on another planet? Why are you so nervous when an aircraft flies above you?
Until recently, we haven't been able to make our control reach as far as a high aircraft.
Oh, now you have, is that it?
Today, their control reaches out into space. Tomorrow, will it girdle the globe?
There's nothing you can do to stop us. Leave us alone.